What's up, guys? TheDevildogGamer here. We're back with some more Escape from Tarkov. Today we're going to be covering tips and tricks. And it's just going to be small things that people don't really see that could completely change your gameplay and just make your life 1,000 times easier. And it's just the simplest of stuff that, you know, whether it's leveling, skills, weapons, just a ton of things. And the first thing we're going to start off with is an easily missed thing. You can load your ammo one by one. Now, you're probably like, well, what does that mean? Well, say right here, we have the 5.45 BT rounds. These are armor-piercing tracer rounds. So these are tracer rounds, and then you have, of course, the, I don't have any. Wow. I'm completely out. We'll take these instead. These are the armor-piercing BP bullets. So, what you can do is you can actually split these, take 5 of the tracer rounds, we'll do 4, if it's going to do it, drop them into the mag 4. So the last 4 rounds in the magazine will be tracer rounds and the rest armor piercing. Now, you just chuck that on in there and there you go. Now you have a visual cue of you about to run out of ammo. Those last 4 rounds will be tracer rounds, which you will see, and that will let you know that your mag is very close to running dry. And that allows you to get to cover, to get ready for a mag change, to change it to concealment if you can't find cover, so that way you're doing your mag change, you know, in a better position than standing in the open. This is a really cool tip to just kind of make it 1,000 times easier, and just being able to, you know, see that you're running out of ammo, especially since there's no ammo counter anywhere on the HUD as you're firing. This is your visual ammo counter, and you can do it with a ton of other things. Now the same thing applies for shotguns. You can load buckshot, slug in the shotgun if you want. And I also get a lot of questions, how do you load the shotguns before you get into the raid? Because you can't just drag and drop shells over, and then most of the time people start, and I do it too all the time, start with an empty shotgun, and sometimes it gets you killed. Well, for the MP53, what you do is you go on over here to modding, you pull this little end cap off, you find the little end cap, and you drag and drop the shotgun shells into it, and drag and drop back onto here. Now you got a loaded shotgun. The 133 is a little bit different. You take the magazine tube, and you drop that off, you pull that over here, and you drop the ammo in, and you drop it on in over here. And you can also unload it the same way also, where you pull it out and you can just right click, unload ammo, boom. And then you can also from there, if you really want to, of course that's on my recording overlay, you can drop single rounds. And you can do slug, buckshot, slug, and it's being extremely, wave 4 just hit, that's why it's being really crazy, and buckshot. But you gotta remember, the last round you load in is always going to be your first round. So make sure you don't get it backwards. So say you want to slug first, that should be the last round that you load in. This is another quick and easy way of just getting your ammo sorted, making sure you get into the raid with the correct setup the first time around. The next tip is keep Blackrock vests. They actually just recently updated. The AK-74N used to be worth only 1 Blackrock vest, but now it's 4. So 4 Blackrock vests equals an AK-74N, which could easily save you 24,000 rubles. I mean, you can sell the Blackrock vest for a good amount of money, but honestly, use the AVS, save the Blackrocks for an AK-74N. It's a free extra gun, and it's a highly customizable gun. It's the, you know, it's the Russian M4 in this game. So definitely keep Blackrock vests solely for AK-74Ns. It makes your life a lot easier just to dump them. It's kind of rare when Proper has it up, but when he does have it up, you can easily trade it in. Also, if you want to do 3 tool sets, these aren't too rare. You see them around a little bit. They're common, uncommon, and you can do 3 for an AK-74N. These really are the best ways to sit there and just get a mass of guns. The only problem with the AK-74N with the Blackrock is it doesn't come with a dust cover, so every once in a while you have to look up here and find this dust cover right here. It's the one without the rear sight on it. The rear sight one is the AK-74SU one, so it's this one right here is the one you want. So buy those up every once in a while. They're only 1,000 rubles, and then you can just easily get yourself a free AK-74N. My next tip is to always ensure anything of value. whether it be your Ford armor, M4, anything. And there's two reasons to this. Say you roll up onto a guy, you kill him, he's got 2 M4s on him, Ford armor, no backpack, and you don't have a backpack either. Now that's gear that you won't be able to get because of the current gear that you have now. So what you do with it is you just take your insured gear and you go find somewhere nice and peaceful and you just drop it on down. Somewhere hidden. And now nobody can see that, right? So now you're free to pick up whatever this guy had that you had killed and take it on out of the raid. And you will get your insured gear back within 24 hours. Or, like I just demonstrated here, you run into a raid and you fucked up and you have no ammo or anything. Just dump it somewhere where no one's gonna see it. You will get it back on insurance. It usually takes 24 hours for the insurance to pop up. You always check your messages, and it stays for 48 hours now. So if you don't have room in your stash to take that insured gear over, you can grab it out a little later once you have some more areas in there. It's a really good tip. I see a lot of people who have passed up on gear, even though they had insured stuff, because they didn't have any room for said gear. Just dump your insured stuff, you'll get it back, take everything. It's pure profit. Even if you die with the gear you grab, you're not losing the gear that you had before. It's perfectly awesome way of keeping everything and getting a ton out of it. Leveling up the traders is another big thing. The higher the level the traders, the better shit you get. But being able to get the money spent to level them up is kind of the issue. You can level them up. Each one has their own little, requirement along with level. This requirement is what you sell and buy from them. One of the harder traders to level up is the therapist. But the quick little easy way to do it is if you got some extra cash that you want to blow, is go over here to proper, buy a lunchbox, which it's not working. Buy a lunchbox. We bought it for $53.90. So we got a lunchbox. Go over to therapist, and then sell her the lunchbox. We'll sell for $37.24. It's not too much of a loss, but it's a quick way to level her up because she is important. There is a lot of really good stuff that she has, and it makes it quite easy. Now, skier is the hardest one to level up. Level 2, it's actually 1.5 million, not 1 million. Or to get to level 3, it's 1.5, not 1 million. I see a lot of this on the forums and stuff like that. It doesn't say it, but that's what it really is. Do whatever you can to sell to him first. Just sell to him first. Sell everything you possibly can, whether it be scopes, attachments, anything like that. Anything that you do not need weapon-wise, sell it to him. If he doesn't take a full weapon, break it down into parts and sell him the parts. And then from there, I suggest if you like M4s and MP5s, Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper buys almost everything. Most complete weapons, he's definitely really, really good at. Like here, though, there's a bit of an issue. Right now we have a SIG P226. He's not buying it. Why is that? Well, that's because there's a round in the chamber. And I'm going to show you how to take the round out of the chamber. It's kind of an annoying thing to do. I'm not actually going to sell him this 226. First thing is we're going to take the mag out. So now it doesn't have a mag, but it shows 0-0. Well, there's still a round in the chamber. So we go to inspect. You scroll over here, you can see that bullet, and you can just hit discard, and yes. So now you'll go right back on over to Peacekeeper, and boom, there it goes. Now you can sell it. It's just kind of one of his little quirks. If the gun is fully empty, he will buy it. And like I said, he's another one that's really hard to level up with. The best things you can get are computer parts. There's definitely a lot of cash. Full weapons, if you want to do that. Magazines and attachments are definitely the way to go. But I highly suggest starting with the therapist and skier. Do not sell to Fence. Fence buys shit for stupid cheap, and it's just a waste of money. Use him for the random stuff like knives that nobody else buys because he's just really a pain in the ass when it comes to buying stuff. You'll be losing money if you sell to him. So go for skier first, then Peacekeeper, then proper. But I highly suggest the therapist and Peacekeeper first, and along with going with skier. But skier's, like I said, a big pain in the ass. He's really picky. But like if you break stuff down, you'll be able to sell a lot more to him. Another tip is to crank your sound and use headsets. I cannot tell you how many times sound has given someone away and I've been able to get so many kills or not die just based off of hearing someone, whether it be footsteps and slowly walking, opening doors, them shifting as you turn. You'll actually make a noise as you shift, walking through bushes, just walking all over things. There's just makes so many different sounds that this game it's very sound intensive, and you need to have your volume all the way up, and you really need a good set of headsets. If you run speakers, I hate to tell you, you're gonna have a bad freaking day. But there is another way that you can help with this. If you go on over and you check out the traders, there is something a little special, and actually Proper doesn't have it. Skier does. These the Pelter Comtac 2 headsets, these things actually amplify low-level sound, and it actually works. These things are actually super useful, and it will actually help you pick out the smaller sounds that you would have possibly missed. These are essential. I mean, if you roll them, you will definitely notice a difference. They're actually pretty damn cheap, and I think I'm gonna buy a few of them right damn now because I've actually run out. They're pretty damn important. So I would say roll the Comtac 2, the Pelter headsets, crank up your stuff, get yourself a good pair of headsets, and you're good to go. Another tip is don't use the MBSS. I mean, it looks like a good spot, a good backpack, but the only problem is you can't put really squat in it. There's really almost nothing you can put in it. The Scav backpack's just a little bit more expensive, and you can fit all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, this is the difference between carrying 2 assault rifles or 4 shotguns. It's really worth the money, and you could come out on top if you're carrying a Scav backpack. If you don't have a backpack and you can't find a Scav, take an MBSS until you can trade up for the backpack. And you can also do backpacks inside of backpacks. I mean, you can Russian doll this thing if you want to, and that's a really good way of storing stuff. Say you have multiple Scav backpacks, you can just boop, and then there you go. Now you've saved yourself some room in your stash, and if you want your Scav backpack, you can just take it out from the inside of the other one. So this is a cool way of being able to keep, and you can keep doing this as much as you want. You can just dump as many backpacks inside of each other as you want, and then as you want to pull them out, you just pull them out from inside of each other and use it. Next tip is to make sure you have the medical supplies necessary to get you through the raid. If you get yourself a Grizzly, which really is the best for anything medical-wise, keep that inside your container. Keep that. You can always drag and drop and use it, on the fly. If anything's jacked up, you can definitely use it. But another thing to do is if you get your medical stuff, don't put it up in your pouch or your vest or anything like that. Put it in your pockets and drag it onto the hotkey. So that way, when you're in the raid and say you do take rounds, you can quickly hit the 4 or the 5 key and apply everything. Always take painkillers, always take splints, unless you got a Grizzly. But if you don't have a Grizzly, take the painkillers, take the splints. It's super important. You really need to be able to take care of yourself. And when the damage carries over, eventually, when you get hurt and you leave a raid and you're still hurt, you will still be hurt when you get back. So it's going to be really important to keep your eye on the medical and treat yourself before you get out of the raid, or it's going to carry over into the next raid. When you go into raids, don't take a rig full of magazines. If you have full slots, if every slot is taken by a magazine, when you go to reload, you will drop your current round or current mag because there will be nowhere to put it. Only take a mag in your weapon and 1 in your vest. Now say you run out of ammo and you switch, magazines. So we've switched, we've reloaded. The mag that was empty before, take ammunition inside your container and just drag it up and go from there. That way you're only really wasting 1 magazine instead of, if you die, losing 4, which is eventually, over time, you'll lose a lot of money over that, constantly having to buy more magazines, and that way you can have a surplus of magazines or sell magazines to the traders to make some money. I mean, these things are $11 a Peacekeeper a pop, so you lose 4 of them, you're losing quite a bit of money. So it's always important, just take 1 with you, load it from your container, and just go in minimalistic, so that way you have the room to bring out as much stuff as possible. Now, even though you're not in raids long enough to actually dehydrate and, need to eat and drink, food is important. There is a metabolism skill that, if you master it, gives a ton of really good things. So when you're in raids and you find food, take it, if it's not gonna let me take that one, and just eat it. Whatever it is, eat, drink, whatever you find on the spot, and that will boost up your metabolism skill. When you master your metabolism skill, you get a 0 chance of dehydration and exhaustion effects. Physical skills cannot be forgotten, which is super important. Decrease energy consumption and dehydration rate, decrease rate of forgetting physical skills, another important fact, and enhance food and drink positive effects. Now, you lose skills over time. As you build up skills, if you don't use them, you will lose them and it starts to degrade. So this skill is super important to stay on top of, because eventually when there are multiple characters, say I have this character which is good with AKs, and then I jump on over to my other character which I'm working for M4s with, if I don't play my AK character for long, his skill sets with the AK will degrade unless I have the metabolism completely, totally mastered. So it's really important, find food, eat it. Take it all, eat it while you're in the raid. It takes a hot minute to level this up. I think the max level is 51 for mastering, but it's totally worth it. If you drink, you know, at least 4 or 5 things, eat and drink 4 or 5 things each raid, you'll get up there quite quickly. My next big tip is to close doors behind you. An open door means activity, and if I see an open door and a lot of other people see an open door, that means someone's been there and they're gonna enter the area a little more cautiously. And the last thing you wanna do is, while you're looting, come on out all willy-nilly and get smoked by some guy who knew you were there because of the open door. So always close doors behind you. I cannot tell you how many times I've caught people off guard because they see the closed door, think everything's safe, and then they run on in like an asshat and I mow them down. It's more times than I can really count. Always close doors behind you. Especially here at Estates, where there are a lot of activity, it's super important to make it look like no one is here. Also, this noise you hear on the floor radiates very well around the surrounding area. So if you want to know someone's inside these houses, stop and listen, because this thumping sound can be heard from outside the fences, and it's an easy way to tell if people are here. Another reason that we're here is for the computers. Computers are really, really good things to loot, because the computer parts themselves can be traded for really good things, and they also, and of course there's nothing here, and they also get sold to Peacekeeper. SSDs get sold for a lot of really good things. The CPUs and the hard drive, the hard drives can get sold for, you know, traded for other things, but you know, the RAM sticks, CPUs, all of that, you know, and basically the hard drives and the SSDs can be sold to Peacekeeper for a good bit of money. You don't want to leave a raid empty-handed. It doesn't matter if you killed anybody or not, you do not want to leave empty-handed. And always check these weapon lockers, sometimes they have shotguns. And especially if you're working on Peacekeeper like I am, those computer parts could mean, you know, $200-300 easy. And when you unlock some of his higher tier stuff, you're looking at a couple grand to, you know, $500 or $700 for an M4. So whatever you can take out that's going to get you money, take it out, especially computer parts. There are a lot of computer spawns that people just overlook. Check them all, see what they got, take that stuff, sell it to Peacekeeper. My next tip is do not use grass as concealment. As you can see here, there's lots of grass, and if I lay down, well, I can't see much of anything, right? Well, if you look right on over there, there is no grass. The render distance of grass is not very far, and taking a prone position especially can get you really fucked up, as it kills your sightline and your chance to engage a target. So say you need to peek anything, you know, don't go on the low side to where, you know, the grass is in the way or anything like that. Make sure you're always above the grass, because it's not there for the people you're engaging. Or if you're trying to crest a hill, find a spot that you can crest where there's no grass instead of cresting where there is grass, because that grass isn't going to show up for people in the distance, but you sure as shit are not going to be able to aim through it on the top of the hill. So always find empty spots to crest over, so that way you're on a level playing field as everyone else who can see you in the distance. And perfect example of what I said. This side has grass. I'm crested. My head is visible from anybody over there, but I can't see squat because of the grass. But if I shift on over a little bit to a spot where there is no grass and I peek, well, guess what? Now I can see a lot better than what I would have seen if I was cresting over here. So always find these clear spots. They are really, really important, and you know, it can mean the life or death, honestly. I mean, people are getting shiesty around here, and people will cap your little head from 100 meters out, trust me. Now if you play Shoreline, one of the important areas you want to hit is this little bunker right here along at the end of the power lines. In it there is a grenade box, and it spawns a ton of grenades. this should be a priority for you because grenades are super important, especially the F1 grenade, which is a mini nuke, and you should be very, very careful throwing. This thing could mean the difference life and death. I have wiped groups with an F1 grenade. I mean, if you see 3 people, chuck an F1 grenade and you won't see 3 people. This is a really important spot to hit, and it is a high traffic area. So watch the ridge lines and stuff like this. I've killed multiple people here. I've been killed multiple times here. So when you roll in, don't roll in all willy-nilly. Also, there's ammo that spawns here, and usually magazines of some type, which is another important feature of leave the spots open in your tac rig so that way you can bring extra magazines out. And now look, I have extra ammunition, which I can bring right on down into there. Also, if you're using the AK-74, you want to be using the PS ammo. This is the best ammo. It is a steel core armor piercing round. It is super important to use it. Everything else will negate the damage. Apparently, I hear it does 9 damage to fort armor now, which is the best armor in the game. So keep the PS rounds, only buy them. If you want to get some tracer rounds also, the BT rounds, keep them also. But you only want to be using the PS rounds. These are pretty much the best that you can be using for the AK-74. And then for the M4, you want to use the FMJ rounds because they really are the best for the M4. I haven't seen any tracer rounds for the 5.56 yet, but eventually I'm sure that they will get there. Another thing to keep in mind is to utilize every slot you have when you're looting. You have tons and tons of space, whether it be pockets, your rig, or your goggles, or your headset or helmet. Take everything you find, especially if you kill a scav, you don't have a helmet on. Drop on a cap or a beanie. Your goggles, you don't have night vision on. Take where did I put it? Take TS glasses, or if you find somebody with a ComTac and you don't have a headset, grab it. Use every slot you have, pistols, backpacks, whatever. Do not leave empty-handed. All of this sells for a lot of money, and I'll show you, especially here, these 2 caps. And you know what, I'll sell the ComTac too, because I actually have quite a few of them. Go down here to Peacekeeper. You think all this stuff's worthless? It's not. It all adds up. $7 for the hat, $7 for that. Find the ComTac, $66. Those are easy things that would have been missed if you would have just been like, I don't have the backpack space for it. Use it. You have the slots. Use it as much as you can. Grab as much as you can off of scavs, players, anything. Take it all out. It's all money. It all allows you to get more gear, and nobody wants to be doing hatchet runs for an hour to be able to afford AKs. Take as much as you possibly can out of a raid. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the first tips and tricks video for Escape from Tarkov. There's just so many little things that make a world of difference in this game, and just little minuscule, mechanics that are overlooked. But this game is ever-changing. There's more stuff being added, constantly mechanics being changed. So we're definitely going to do some more of these tips and tricks videos as more stuff comes out or things change, and maybe new information to make everybody's life a lot easier. Anyways, boys, if you want to see some more of this, let me know in the comments below. Talk to you guys later. Peace.